In 2020, the name James Jani was everywhere on YouTube. His videos were blowing up.
Because I'm realizing, holy shit, the video is starting to get picked up by the YouTube algorithm. And then a very quick snowball began.
His editing and storytelling had everyone hooked. People scrambled to figure out his secrets. How to make documentaries like him, how to recreate his thumbnails, how to tell stories the James Jani way. But no one could get it quite right. Even other creators like Magnets Media analyzed how he seemed to beat the algorithm.
And one morning, I sort of wake up and I notice this influx of views coming into the channel. I did not anticipate this at all.
And he literally cracked the code with just 7 videos. At 19, James's channel skyrocketed to 2 million subscribers in record time. Every upload pulled in tens of thousands of views almost instantly. Each one feeling like a brand new Netflix documentary you couldn't look away from.
I was realizing my whole life is about to change. And that feeling of like, okay, the trajectory of my life here is very likely to completely shift up from what I had ever anticipated. I remember 4 days that I had of just straight like heart palpitations because of all of this stuff that was going on, where I couldn't eat properly, I couldn't sleep properly. I was just like, so it's an anxiety of both excitement but also like almost processing the fact that this has happened. You can imagine at this period of time I'm realizing, yo, it's started to happen and it's happening way sooner and way faster than I ever could have imagined. I remember like running laps in the local park to just like release energy.
And then suddenly, without scandal, controversy, or explanation, he stopped posting. His last video went live over a year ago, leaving fans and fellow creators stunned, all asking the same question: what really happened? To understand that, we have to go back to the very beginning, to the moment when it all started. James Jani didn't start YouTube with the intention of becoming a documentary filmmaker. At first, he wanted to be an actor. He attended countless auditions, chasing the dream of performing on stage and screen, but time and again, opportunities didn't materialize. Gradually, his focus began to shift toward business, a path that promised stability and financial independence. By late January 2020, when James uploaded his first video, YouTube wasn't the main plan. He was working on a startup called Quitomy, and the channel was originally meant to support that project. YouTube was another way to promote what he was already building, but before he even posted that first video, James had taken a deliberate detour into learning the craft. He dedicated about a month to studying video editing and designing thumbnails in Photoshop. He learned the basics: cutting, sequencing, layering music, polishing visuals, and practicing until he felt confident enough to produce something worthy of sharing. By the end of that month, he completed his first video, titled "Is University Worth It Anymore?" It wasn't perfect, and it certainly didn't go viral, but for James, it was a milestone. For the first time in a long while, he was creating something that felt entirely his own. Making videos reconnected James with a part of himself he had quietly abandoned. Creativity had always been there. Storytelling, editing, music, structure, things he had loved growing up but had slowly pushed aside as he pursued practical paths. Around 2019, his focus had shifted to business and financial independence. But that shift came with the fear that pursuing creativity might mean financial struggle. What YouTube offered was rare, a bridge between two worlds. For the first time, creativity and business didn't feel like enemies. By the end of January 2020, after posting that first video, James felt a pull he hadn't expected. He wanted to make another one, and then another. The channel slowly stopped feeling like a marketing tool and started feeling personal. It wasn't really about Quitomy anymore. It was about exploring ideas, telling stories, and figuring things out in public. The realization came quietly, but it was powerful. Maybe he didn't have to choose between meaningful work and financial stability. Maybe both could exist in the same place. At the time, James kept his expectations deliberately low. He told himself that if after a year, the channel reached 1,000 subscribers, that would count as success.
I told myself, let's give it a year. Let's try to build out this YouTube channel for a year, see where it takes me. And if I get like 1,000 subscribers, I would consider that a successful year.
That number wasn't random. It came from the idea of 1,000 true fans. The belief that you don't need millions of people watching, just a small group who truly care about what you create.
And the reason I went on this number of 1,000 is there's this kind of popular essay, I guess, called 1,000 True Fans that is really good to read about. And it helps you understand this concept that you don't need to build a 1 million follower sort of platform to be able to pursue something as a career that is financially sustainable. The idea is that if you have 1,000 true fans, as in fans that really love what you do, really love your work, and will probably really love anything that you try to sell, if they had like a sort of annual value of like £100 per fan, that would get you into like a 6-figure number of revenue a year. That was kind of the maths behind it.
In early 2020, that mindset shaped everything. After his first upload in early 2020, nothing about James Jani's channel suggested what it would become. The videos went out quietly, pulling in small numbers that most creators would have ignored. Views came slowly, sometimes just a handful an hour, but James wasn't watching the view count. He was watching how long people stayed. In the beginning, YouTube showed him something modest but meaningful, around 15 to 20 minutes of watch time per hour. It wasn't impressive, but it meant people were finishing the videos. And for James, that was enough to keep going. One moment, however, stood out more than the analytics. After uploading "Is University Worth It Anymore?", James sent the link to a few friends. They watched it, they liked it, some of them shared it on their WhatsApp statuses. It wasn't a viral moment, and it didn't move the algorithm, but it did something else. For the first time, the work felt seen. Not by strangers, but by people who knew him. That small reaction mattered more than the numbers on the screen. It reassured him that the video wasn't pointless, and that someone, somewhere, actually cared about what he was making. As James kept uploading, each video became more deliberate. The editing tightened, the pacing improved, thumbnails became even better, and titles shifted toward ideas rather than pure curiosity. Videos like "The Rise of Fake Gurus," "The Insane Story of Instagram," "How to Profit from Recession," "Data Brokers," and "The Toxic World of Self-Help" slowly began to define the direction of the channel. On the 16th of April, 2020, James published video number 7 titled "The Untold Truth About Money," and at first, it flopped just like the rest. This is usually where most new creators give up. 7 well-made, well-packaged videos, yet nothing seemed to move. The numbers stayed low. The momentum refused to come, but James was far from ready to give up. He kept going. From the very beginning, he had set a clear rule for himself.
This whiteboard, okay, let's get 1,000 subscribers this year. That was like a big goal, and let's just see how we feel about the whole thing. And if by the end of it I haven't done that, we can maybe start to reconfigure what am I doing with my life.
And he was barely a few months in, far too early to quit. What he didn't know was that one of his earliest videos had quietly begun moving under the radar of the YouTube algorithm, slowly building momentum. That video was about to blow up, and when it did, it would completely change his life for good. At the same time, James was planning his next upload, a video about the popular streamer Tyler 1. hoping that a reaction from the streamer might expose his channel to a much larger audience. He had already begun working on it when, one morning, he noticed a surge of views on his channel, not from the new video, but from the rise of fake gurus, 5 to 10 views an hour. Before this, even 2 views in that time frame felt rare. Every hour, the numbers climbed a little more. A few days later, it became clear this was no accident. Other videos were now being pulled in as well, especially the toxic world of self-help and the untold truth about money. He started seeing an upswing in watch time. 10 views per hour turned into 50, then 100, then 1,000. The growth did not explode all at once. It stacked, hour by hour, building pressure. And with it, the subscriber count began rising faster than James ever imagined. On the 11th of May, 2020, James shared that he had reached 1,000 subscribers, and he had been sitting at 200 just weeks earlier in April. 6 days later, he crossed 5,000. The next day, 10,000. On that same day, his channel landed on the front page of the documentary subreddit with the fake gurus video. 2 days later, he reached 21,000 subscribers.
You guys are amazing, man. That is so insane. We hit 21,563 subscribers. Like 3 days ago, we only hit 10K. Yeah, my mind is blown.
Then, on the 30th of May, James Jani hit 100,000 subscribers in just 20 days with only 7 videos on his channel.
So on the 11th of May, 2020, I post a story because I had just reached 1,000 subscribers. Bear in mind, in April, I was only at like 200. On the 16th of May, so this is only like a couple days after hitting 1,000 subscribers, on the 16th of May, we hit 5,000 subscribers. Bear in mind, I've not posted anything at this point. It's still just 7 videos on my channel. On the 17th of May, the day after that, I'm at 10,000 subscribers. And you can imagine at this time as well, I'm not like, my Instagram is also starting to gain a lot of followers, right? Because I've also plugged my Instagram in my videos. I'm not someone that posts a lot on social media. So you can imagine, this is a very hectic period of time where I'm like, oh my God, like this has happened way faster than I could have ever imagined. So 17th of May, 10,000 subscribers. Then on that very same day, we end up at the front page of the subreddit of documentaries with our fake guru video. On the 19th of May, we hit 21,000 subscribers. And then on the 30th of May, we hit 100,000 subscribers in 20 days. I went from 1,000 to 100,000 subscribers on my channel.
The algorithm didn't push his content aggressively, it tested it patiently, showing it to small groups, watching how they reacted, then showing it to more people who behaved the same way. Each reaction fed the next. He passed his 1,000 subscriber goal not once, but repeatedly, compressing an entire year's target into just 4 months. By then, he was monetized, had received his Silver Creator Award, and his first paycheck was already on the way. With an RPM of 6.05 pounds, he earned 23,947 pounds at just 19 years old. Brands began reaching out, and the speed of it all left him stunned, struggling to fully process what was happening. What I am about to say may sound cliche, but its accuracy can never be overemphasized. When the YouTube algorithm promotes a video, it works like a snowball effect. One video starts moving, and as it rolls, it begins to pull the others with it. A video that seemed buried suddenly starts getting views, then another. YouTube begins showing your older videos to the same people who enjoyed the one that took off. That is why early underperformance does not mean failure. Because if one video finally breaks through and people come to your channel wanting more, but there's nothing else waiting for them, most will leave. But when there is already work behind you, the momentum has somewhere to go. Or would you rather be the YouTube version of a one-hit wonder musician who drops a viral hit, captures the world's attention, explodes in popularity, and then disappears? Eventually, James noticed something changing. Some videos were pulling in over 100 views every hour, and it wasn't temporary. People were staying, comments became longer and more thoughtful. Viewers moved from one video to the next. The channel passed 100,000 subscribers, momentum quietly built. Subscriber counts climbed past 200,000. Then 500,000, without James changing his style or increasing how often he uploaded. By the time the channel crossed 1 million subscribers and kept moving toward 2 million, it was clear that something had shifted. When James uploaded, people didn't just click, they stayed. And when people stay, YouTube pays attention. As the audience grew, so did the pressure. The videos were now watched by millions. After the Fake Gurus documentary took off, expectations changed. Research had to be deeper. Writing had to be sharper. Editing had to meet a standard the channel had quietly set for itself. While working on a video, the workload became too much to handle alone. For the first time, James brought someone in to help with research. He immediately noticed how well it worked. Soon after, another person joined the team. On the surface, it looked like progress. More people, more help, better output. But the work didn't disappear. Even with help, videos still took months, sometimes longer than before. What made this phase difficult was that nothing was going wrong. The channel was growing fast. But the channel that once felt exciting and simple began to feel heavy. Not because the passion was gone, but because the stakes were higher than they had ever been. Without fully realizing it at the time, James was entering a stage where growth stopped feeling straightforward and keeping up demanded more than just effort. By the end of 2024, the pressure finally caught up with James Jani. The channel had grown into something much bigger than he ever imagined, but the joy he once felt while creating was slowly disappearing. Perfectionism became one of the biggest contributors to his burnout. He wasn't failing, the channel was successful, but mentally, he was exhausted. The constant need to meet expectations, to outdo previous work, and to justify the time spent on each project drained him. After completing a major documentary toward the end of 2024, James realized he couldn't continue like this. He made the decision to step back from the channel entirely. He needed space to fix the way he was working and thinking before it destroyed his love for creating. To get through that period, James chose to slow everything down. He took a long break from structured work and allowed himself to live outside the routine that had consumed him. He traveled, spent time in places where work wasn't the focus, so he could relax. He spent time experimenting with ideas that had no deadline, no expectation, and no pressure to succeed. Cinematography, exercises, casual filming, and simply making things for the sake of enjoyment and fun. This break gave him room to reflect, to understand his burnout, and to rebuild a healthier relationship with creativity instead of forcing productivity through exhaustion. In 2025, that healing process led to something different. James created a new channel called James Jani Scrapbook. On this channel, he speaks openly about his burnout, his struggles with perfectionism, and the reasons behind stepping away from the main channel. The channel has quickly grown past 10,000 subscribers, showing that people are just as interested in the journey as the documentaries themselves. And towards the ending of December 2025, James shared on his Instagram that work on the main channel would resume in 2026, this time with a healthier approach, making people like me who look up to him and is inspired by his work very happy. Stories like this remind us that growth is not always forward movement, sometimes it requires a pause. Please subscribe for more if you enjoyed the video. Thank you.